Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next up, we have reading of the mission statement and strategic priority. Amy usually tells me it is strategic direction 3, so I will read it tonight. So we will empower a community of lifelong learners who strive for personal excellence through meaningful relationships and real-world authentic learning experiences. And strategic priority 3, expand opportunities for students to develop self-worth and connections to others. Next up, conflict of interest. Now is the time to declare conflict on any of the agenda items if you have one. Does anybody have any conflicts to declare? Perfect. Seeing none, we will approve the agenda. And just to note, we are going to suspend information only building reports. And all 3 of those, right? Justin, A, B, and C. So all of 7 is going to be suspended. So any questions on that? If not, would somebody like to entertain a motion to approve that as presented? So moved. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Visitors and communication from the public.
There's one, was shared out with you electronically. So there was one public comment submitted that was sent to you earlier today. That is the only one that we received. So.
And you all have an opportunity to read that, and we don't respond, but it's just information there for you to look at. All right, Cammie, are you with us? We're going to move to consent agenda minutes. We've got 2 sets there, one from the annual meeting, which was closing of the old board, and then one from the organizational meeting. I did not see anything on that. Anybody else have any questions on our minutes? Okay. Next up, paid bills and invoices.
Do you have any questions for me?
Oh, you can't hear it, Corey.
You're right.
Do you have any?
I'm just not hearing it.
No, I don't.
She hasn't texted me yet.
Let's try that. Can you say something?
Do you have any questions for me on the bills?
She said, do you have any questions for her?
So Corey, you can hear me?
I had one for her on a Chartwells in general, and she said they got some equipment, and then there was something that would build to us for the turkey dinner, and we paid it. We got reimbursed. Yes,
yeah, Optus writes a check to the district for it.
Yep. So that was just kind of a
Yes.
Yes. The Chartwell, that was the Optimist. They were billed for their ingredients, and they paid us instead, and it got deposited before I saw it. So we then had to write a check. We could either write it back to Optimist, or we could just forward it on to Chartwells, and that's what we did. You'll see Chartwells in a couple places because we also bought some equipment for the middle school serving line, and those pieces that are approved for nutrition spending came out of nutrition, but there are also a few pieces like a cashier stand. Those are not allowable uses of nutrition funds. So those came out of one of our capital projects funds.
So just, are those our equipment? So they will always be in the district, or when the Chartwells leave, do they go with them?
No, we own all equipment at all times.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chartwells doesn't bring anything but staff.
Okay.
Yes.
The only other thing that kind of caught my eye was Jones Creek Apparel in the general fund. That is junior high cheer, and that was approved by the Ed Foundation. They're revamping or resurrecting the junior high cheerleading program. So they have agreed to buy those uniforms, as well as the next one on the bills, junior achievement, and that was Finance Park. That was an outing. And the Madison County Treasurer is the cost of our election.
So the election cost us $5,200.
Yes, it did.
Any other questions on paid bills?
Do we purchase that equipment from Chartwells, or who does it purchase from?
Where did the equipment come from? Renee?
No, and we had to go out and have 3 quotes, 3 buys, 3 bids and a buy. So we went out, I think it was Bolton Hay who was our vendor on these things. However, I asked for a new bill with our name. It clearly says Winterset Community School District is the vendor, but Chartwell's paid it. So we had to pay Chartwell's then.
Oh,
It is
that
our
makes-
equipment.
oh, that makes sense.
So they're the middleman.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's also a little bit funky because remember, we have to have a procurement approved procurement plan each year for the nutrition fund. And we didn't have equipment in there. They did. And our purchase agreement, we have procurement with Chartwell's. So it really solved a couple problems. I didn't really like it going into it, but it was all right.
Any other questions for Cammie? All right, go to personnel reports.
Yeah, a couple of contracts and a resignation. The early retirements are down below. I
Yep.
saw that down below, so you'll approve those separately. They're laid out pretty down below.
Okay. Open enrollment, we have one application in, we have to approve.
It's just a homeschooled student, but wants to play soccer. Activities only.
Yep. Question?
Why is there a half circle
Oh,
next to it?
I asked her that.
Oh, yes. So
That's it.
anything that is shaded like that, Emily, with that circle on the half shaded, that means it's only for our eyes only. So the public can't see that because that has student information.
Yep.
So it is only for us and administrative people that can see that. So when you log in, you get access to that. If you were to not be logged in, you wouldn't be able to see that document. It would tell you there's something there, but you can't access it. So
Also,
that's what the half circle means.
I don't pull it up during the meeting.
Yep, because it's got student information on it. So we don't share that openly during the meeting. Okay, so we're approving that one in for activities only. Perfect. Financial report, Cammie.
I didn't see anything remarkable on either the revenues and expenditures or the statement of position for all funds. Questions for me?
No, man. It's moving right along. Contracts and agreements, shared activity, Indianola.
Yep, so we have 20 agreement with Indianola for our kids to swim. This is just us approving it, which we do every year.
And no language change as far as I can tell.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. And then the next one is the LEA special education contract for Van Meter.
When we provide special education services to open enrolled students in, we have these agreements between the two districts. You're going to see quite a few more next month. They usually come with the first semester bills.
Okay. Any questions on either of those?
And they're open enrolled in or out.
Those are open enrolled.
Yeah.
In.
We are providing the special eds. Oh, wait. You know what? They go both ways. I'm
Okay.
going to send them out to all the districts. We're providing service. I think this came from Van Meter and they're serving our resident student.
Okay,
Yes, they're receiving, we are sending is where I have to sign.
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Anything else before we approve the consent agenda? All right, if not, I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Is there a second?
second,
Motion by Samantha, seconded by Gina. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Sorry, do you want Sam or Samantha? What do you?
I don't care.
Okay. I'm used to Sam.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, want to be official here. Old business, second reading of board policy updates.
Yeah, these were, again, ISB updates were brought last month. It's just the second reading before they become official. If the board approves them, Jane will make the changes to our current board policies and they'll become effective upon the second reading.
You guys approved them on their first read or approved the first reading last month. Any questions on those? Now to entertain a motion to approve the policies as presented on a second reading for adoption.
so moved.
Second.
Motion by Gina, seconded by Malcolm. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. New business, authorize and schedule 2 budget hearings.
Yeah, so we've shared information with you about the change in the certified budgeting process. So we bring a plan for those 2 hearings. This is what we're proposing. You'll see Cami has two options for the first one, the 25th or April 1st on the taxpayer statements. Again, that's where the auditor will mail that out to every taxpayer in our district, and it'll have all the taxing authorities that they are subject to. And then there's a hearing where they can come in and express their thoughts on those taxes, and we have to set that. The earliest date's that we could do is the 25th, correct, Cami?
Correct.
And she said maybe the first, because it's a pretty tight window if we schedule on the 25th. So that's when you can decide, and then she's recommending that the second one is at our April 8th meeting, which we have typically done. When we approve the budget, we have that hearing that night. So that would be kind of the one that Jared and Malcolm are familiar with, that hearing, and then the budget on the 8th. So it's really, which would you prefer? Would you prefer to have one on the 25th or April 1st? And then we would recommend that the second be on April 8th. Anything to add, Cami?
No, the second one on April 8th, that'll be our regular meeting. That's what we all have always done. I just didn't know your availability between either the 25th or April 1st, April Fool's Day. I don't know how long the taxpayers will have their statements in their hands. Some of them may not have received it by the 25th, or others will have gotten it and it'll be very fresh for them. Or I don't have an opinion one way or another whether the 25th or the 1st is better. So it's really your availability.
I would rather go the first, because I know there's a first grade band or first grade vocal concert the
25th.
25th.
I work the first.
Okay.
So
Sam, are you available the 1st or the 25th?
Either.
And I could come and just make sure I leave to get to the vocal concert.
Oh, concert's at 7.
I,
They're usually 7.
Usually 7 is what they've
Seven.
been.
7 to 7:30.
I say
So-
7 to 7:19 is
Yeah.
the top speed.
Do
So we
you
did
think, since this is for the public, that you would want to push the meeting? Typically, we have our meetings at 5. Do you want to do a 5 o'clock meeting, or would you prefer that pushed down to 7 so everybody's home?
No, 5. We'll keep it at 5.
it would not bother me either way. 5's hard for anybody to get here. I understand that. But I'm okay either way.
Are you recommending us move it to 7, Cami?
Well, because this is for the taxpayers, I do believe you might get some pushback that 5 o'clock isn't doable for the majority.
But on the 1st, I don't know how many it is soccer. We have soccer night. We're gonna run to in a concert.
no matter what.
It's 7 o'clock. We're just, I mean.
And which night do you work?
First.
6.
and that's what I was gonna say. What if we did 6?
6 on the 25th.
And you've split the difference.
Yeah. I like that agreement. Let's do if we could do the 6th or 6 o'clock on the 25th. Does that work, Cami?
It certainly does.
Okay, so the motion is going to be to have our 2 budget hearings. One will be on the 25th at 6 p.m. and the second will be during the regular board meeting on April 8th. And we don't have a time because it starts at 5. So
Correct.
correct? Okay.
So the 8th will be our regular.
Yeah, 5 o'clock.
Okay.
So would somebody like to make that motion?
So moved.
Motion by Gina,
Second.
second by Malcolm. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next one, authorize and schedule public hearing on junior high chiller replacement project.
Now, this is not a board, the board does not have to be there for this one. Back. I want this one also during the regular session, but in February. Because in
Yeah.
February, you'll have the hearing, then you'll approve the scope of the contract, and then you will award the winning bid.
So you'll do opening before, or will we do opening at the board meeting?
No, we will open those bids earlier.
Earlier, okay. So we just have to approve doing this during our February 12th regular meeting.
Correct.
Okay.
Will we have the bids back by then?
Yes, actually, it's our architect. Ray is working with SVPA. We used to use them on a lot of work, but but they'll oversee all of this. The bid documents are going up on our website, but they're also going out on a state, what do they call it? A work page, is where all of the contractors would go. So they'll have access to that. There's a pre-bid meeting that will be held, and then there's a bid opening. And the board isn't involved in all of that, but the bids will come to you to actually award. Well, SVPA will tell you who we're awarding the bid to, but that will take board action.
I entertain a motion to authorize and schedule a public hearing on the chiller for February 12th. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Sam, second by Gina. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Up next is the 5-year Pebble and Save facility plan.
Yeah, so Cami and Ray and I met here, late November, early December, and went through our 5-year facility plan where we use Pebble and Save dollars. We updated on actual costs from the projects that we completed last summer, those that were able to get done, those that we didn't, and then we started looking forward to what we need to do this year and 2 years out. So the document you have there is kind of our thinking and what we've budgeted for those projects. Ray is here to talk through, you know, what those projects are going to look like for us. Any questions for him? You'll notice as you go through this, some of these things are recurring costs that we have every year. There's some technology replacement. We usually alternate between 1 bus, 2 buses. We've shifted that a little bit in the last couple of years because of the fleet and use that money for other things. But again, this is kind of how we take care of updating our buildings and facilities. Anything I missed? Ray, Cami, you want to walk through?
The only thing I want to add is that, you know, it's a pretty good document in the current year, and it's a pretty good forecast of the second year. But we have tried to identify our priorities, but it is a little looser the farther out you get because it's just our roadmap. But as you all know, things come up. Things like replacing some of the heat pumps and things we hadn't planned for, and suddenly they need to be done. So just it's our plan, it's our roadmap.
Elevator would be.
Exactly.
That's been fixed. Is that working
No.
now?
No.
Okay.
Still waiting.
Waiting. There's one thing you'll see, there's an anatomy table on there. So we have a pretty robust college credit anatomy, genetics, biology. There is a table that is like a virtual dissection. We applied for a grant through the state to cover some of it. And we're allotting some money for that because it's such a large equipment purchase. In addition, also can be used in biology and other sciences as well for virtual dissection. It takes, I don't know if you're familiar with it or seen it, Malcolm or Lynn work or not, but so the table looks like there's it's all digital. It'll take you all the way down.
It's really awesome.
Show childbirth, it'll do all of that. Something we've been looking at for a while. We have the resources to do it, and we're we're trying to get a grant to cover some of the costs. So that's why that's on there. And then you'll see the cooling tower that you're approving the bid for. That's a high ticket item that we're going to have to replace.
Our current one is 25, 6 years old, and we're looking at replacing it with the same manufacturer and everything, so should last us that long. Again, it's just the end of life. I mean, that's the life cycle of it, so. Let's go.
Will that be a long process to replace that? Cause I saw that you're gonna be taking out.
Yeah, it'll take a while to take, it's a pretty intense
So would
process,
that
yeah.
happen during school?
No, they're looking at trying to get in there right after school's out, and they gotta disassemble, there's a huge vent that goes through the ceiling, they gotta pull that off, and pull the pieces out, and then put new pieces in, and then assemble it inside there. Yeah, it's a long process.
Something else that Jared Malcolm will know, you'll see on there, the cybersecurity recurring costs. That was something we did last year as a board. We partnered with the AEA, who group purchased some items to beef up our cybersecurity, greatly improved our infrastructure security. Yeah, I think it's a good investment when you look at what happened in Des Moines, but that's a cost that we're paying annually to, for those services. Any questions from the board for Ray, Cammy, or I on kind of what we're proposing? Oh, I'll put some of the green, I appreciate Cammy highlight some of the green. Handheld emergency radios, so we applied for these through our safety grant for the other buildings. We couldn't apply for it for here, so for Corey, myself, Kendra to have one, and then one at the bus barn, because there's no kids there. The safety grant wouldn't approve it, but this will tie all of our admin together. If you remember what happened, like obviously last Thursday, talking about the radio they used, they hit the panic button and went statewide. We have one of those in our office. All of our administrators have a radio that would do that as well then, and will tie directly to Madison County. Madison County, from what I understand, was pretty proactive in the system they put in. This ties right into that radio system and would get the administrators who, we weren't able to get one through the grant. So that's where that is. So.
Anything else on the 5-year plan? As Cammy stated, year 1 looks pretty good, pretty easy, and then it just kind of starts fluctuating.
Some are recurring, but when the projects kind of pop up, you know.
When things break down, and yeah.
Mhm.
So. Any questions?
Nope.
If not, I entertain a motion. You want a motion on this, right, Cammy? We do approve this?
Yes, please.
Thank you. A motion to approve the 5-year Pebble and Safe Facility Plan as presented.
So moved.
Motion by Malcolm, second by Sam. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Real quick, just so when you see board bills coming later, it'll be paying for the projects that you're approving. Does that make sense? So you kind of approve us to go forward and spend this money. So when you see board bills, it'll hopefully align and hopefully we're close on what we budgeted for each one of those items. So I just want to point that out.
And these are the only 2 accounts we can take the money from? The
No,
Pebble and Save, or that's just-
you could use general fund dollars. However, these are specifically for those things. So
Infrastructure and repairs.
infrastructure,
Mechanical,
Pebble is, yeah.
computers, tech,
Yeah.
copiers.
Yeah,
So, like,
Pebble
if we
essentially is physical plant equipment levy. And so we went out to the voters and got it approved, and it's used for those things. And then SAVE is the state secure advancement of it. Yeah, I can remember.
Secure and advanced vision for education.
There you go.
Vision for
Vision for
education.
education.
The 1 penny you pay an additional sales tax that's divided equally amongst districts on a per pupil basis. Same thing, has to be used for technology, equipment, infrastructure type of things. So can't be used for salaries or anything like that.
I do,
No, good question.
I was just thinking if it went over budget, that would have to be something to take away from another bucket.
If you look on that sheet, Emily, we don't go over budget because Cammy does a great job showing what we start with, what they're pulling out, and then what we're still leaving. Cammy likes to leave
Yeah.
money in there. We never zero those out completely.
No.
So yeah, there's always a nice cushion. I think, like at the end of this year, one's got a cushion of 380,000, 720, there's always a nice cushion on that far right-hand side in those accounts.
If you notice in SAVE.
And I
too-
don't think you,
Go ahead, Kimmy.
I'm not sure you can see, but there are worksheets attached behind. I think I just gave you the PDF of the front. But I do a cash flow then on the back pages, so I can see how the revenue comes in and how the expenditure is going out. And that's why we're constantly prioritizing. Just because it made year 2 or year 3 on the 5-year plan, if something else of a better priority or a bigger priority comes up ahead and the cash flow is not there, it won't get done.
Very good.
So we also meet in December to right sides. These are budget projections. We actually know what the costs, by that time of year and adjust accordingly. So.
Perfect.
Okay, next up is proposed junior high handbook change to the dress code. I would assume it's mirroring the high school.
It is exact same language. Ty Bain was going to be here and present these students, so represented the junior high. Again, with the weather, told him to stay home. Willing to come in February if you'd like, so you can, if you're okay with it, you can approve it. If you wanted to, you can table it. He said he would come and present, so it's really up to the board. But it's similar language, same language as the high school, so.
The presentation is very nicely done.
Yeah, he said that I did too, so.
It's been a topic of conversation in my house. I've been grilled as to why the junior high kids can't wear their hats. So,
I guess I wasn't aware that they could at the high school.
that dress code was changed just 2
November?
months ago,
Yeah,
3 months
November.
ago. It was
October,
at trial
November.
basis. That was something the superintendent council and the student council sent to Cam, and Cam reviewed it with. If they don't, then it becomes an infraction. I mean, there's a process for it, but I've talked to several teachers afterwards and I said, any issues with, and they all said it hasn't changed much. There was a few that wore more right away, but after that, it's pretty well kind of died out. And I think this, in my mind, would be similar. There are gonna be a few that wear it to show they got it, and then still no hoodies. You know, they can't wear hoodies or anything like that. The hoodies have to stay down, but
So it's gone well.
The administration over here would tell you they spent a lot of time prior to chasing this down and kind of a skinny rabbit. You know, kids wearing a hat, we're constantly harassing this kid, chasing down, where now they're maybe spending time on something. Well, maybe a little more an issue.
Well,
Yeah, a little more of an issue. Yeah.
any other discussion, questions? Thoughts? It is our, handbook to set, so.
I don't like the idea of it. Like I'm okay with high school kids, but I think there should be like some things to look forward to in the future. Like just because big kid gets to do it doesn't mean little kid gets to do it. I don't know. It's just the way I feel about it. I think there should be some things that are to look forward to as you get older. You get more privileges, and
I mean, I wasn't really sold on the high school.
okay with the high school kids, like they're like you can wear a hat at college, right? Like there's no rule against that, but I think like as you age, you get access to more privileges, and I think that should still be one of them. Like it's a thing that kids want to do, I get it, but I still think that as you get older, you should have more responsibilities, and with responsibilities come privileges, and just go from there. But it's not ultimately my decision. It's a board.
Junior
thing.
high and high school have any, I mean, besides like a passing time where they might be going to the gym or anywhere else where they would see junior high would see a high school kid, why do they have a hat on when I can't? Does that happen a lot? Or
Yeah, so they'll go up for CT, so they'll go up for industrial tech, they'll
Okay.
go up for Mrs. Kerr's class, her classroom's down that hallway now. Jenny probably remember.
I really
There.
And with that main entrance now, the combined main entrance,
Oh,
there's a
yeah.
lot of crossover.
There's a lot of
Oh,
back
yeah.
and forth and.
As they come out
Yeah.
to go down to CTE or just junior high in and out and stuff, there's a lot of.
Yeah.
A lot of crossover.
Is the middle school gonna ask?
I literally was just gonna say, is it gonna be in elementary next or what?
I don't know,
Yeah. They will, I guarantee you. Like, they have brothers and sisters, you know, so.
Yeah, you may not know this yet, but I may be a little more old school than some, and so hats and buildings are still something I'm not a fan of.
I don't know.
I think of Mr. C, get off the stage.
McDonald, off stage.
That being said, my administration team, they're ultimately the ones that are having to enforce it and deal with it, and the time that they were spending, I kind of relented. I 100% see Malcolm's point of view as well. Maybe it's worth tabling it and making Ty come and answer some of these questions.
Are they having issues at the junior high with kids that?
I think they want to because they see
High school.
high school kids, and I don't know how much time Mr. Sussman's spending on. I don't know for sure, Sam.
After
You
seeing
have,
their
you both
research-
have junior high students, right?
Yeah.
Emily.
Well, Blake doesn't.
So Aaron knows that's not allowable in my household to wear a hat in school.
Yeah, even if this was allowed, I would tell my kid, you're
Yeah,
not.
he knows not to take a hat to school.
When I chuckle at the reasons why they want a continuity, easy to cover that
Yeah.
up. Looking late, cover that up. Do a haircut, cover that up. Like, you're right, we're not there every day dealing with
And
that issue.
I asked Sawyer because he brought it up and he, I think he thinks it's a neat thing to do. I said, you can do it. He goes, well, no, you won't let me take a hat to school. And I said, then why are we having this conversation? But friends, I mean, he has
Yeah,
friends
right.
that wear them and
Yeah.
I said, but I don't know. I said, it's not up to me alone. So I said, I'm indifferent on it. It's not a hill that I will battle against. It's your guys' decision. Do we want Ty to come back and try to sell it to us? Is Ty gonna come and actually sway anybody's opinion on anything? Ty or any other student or any other organization gonna come and sway your opinion on it?
Unless Mr. Sussman comes in and says like, I'm spending an inordinate amount of time dealing with this, but like, that's a different issue
Mhm.
in my mind, like. There's,
Sorry, go ahead.
yeah, like, that's a different issue, like. If you're spending a ton of time chasing down kids that are wearing hats, then like. I don't know, I don't think the solution to a problem is to just give everybody permission to create the problem that was initially brought forward, so. Yeah, I mean, if you guys want Ty to come back, that's fine, but I don't think it's gonna change my mind.
It's not gonna change my opinion any.
I'm indifferent and I hated it when I was in school. When I was a teacher. I still have kids that are your age that the minute they see me will take their hat off. But I think it's something I've become accustomed, and it's not a hill I'm going to die on in my classroom.
Yeah.
So,
So consensus wise, I'm not building a consensus either way. We're both kind of split down the middle here. We can either table it and have to talk about it again, or we can it can die from a lack of emotion, correct, Cami?
That is correct.
You can either you can get a motion and a second to vote on it.
Correct, or with
Vote,
nothing,
Whatever.
yep,
If you don't get a motion and a second, it just dies on the.
yep. So I will entertain a motion to accept the proposed junior high handbook changes for dress code for hats.
Okay,
Seeing
so the
none,
minutes will reflect, no motion made.
no motion made.
can I make a motion to have Ty come back? I just have a feeling that him not hearing our discussion,
Yeah.
I really feel
That's
like,
fair.
so I don't know, I guess I would make a motion to have Ty come back, hear our discussion in February.
So the table.
Yep, so
Yeah.
I'll place it on the table. We'll table it for February with Ty to come back. How's that, Cami? Can you fix these minutes?
I
Sorry.
can do that.
Perfect. We will table it till February and have Ty come back and present.
I think he needs to be heard and.
That's, yep.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hear our discussion. Yeah.
I love it.
E, annual review of board policy graduation requirements.
Yeah, so board policy needs to be reviewed annually. You set the graduation requirements as typically, he goes in hand with, course guide. Timing between this board meeting and February or in December, and Corey and Cam are still working on it. Course guide will come in February. You approve for next year. We're not recommending any changes to graduation requirements, but it is a policy needs to be reviewed annually. I brought it to have it reviewed, and answer any questions that you may have, so.
The only question I have, and this is maybe not the place for it, but like the Algebra 2 requirement to graduate
Yep.
is steep.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I would have graduated from high school.
I made it.
Yeah, so this goes
It's
back,
steep.
yeah, this goes back to,
Might have been a challenge, but I made it.
this goes back to the passing of the Iowa core curriculum.
Mhm.
And your graduation requirements should be that kids have met the requirements in the Iowa core. Iowa core has Algebra 2 requirements. I 100% understand your point of view and would almost argue sometimes I don't think every kid needs Algebra 2 either.
I would argue that most kids don't need Algebra 1, let alone 2, but, and I argue this with my wife all the time.
However, it does align to the core curriculum and our graduation requirements are supposed to ensure kids have met those requirements.
So it's a state requirement essentially.
Yeah, state sets the standards, right? So if you want
Yeah.
to, like Iowa core standards, it would have content that is Algebra 2 level.
Yeah, because when you get into chapter 12, you have to offer so many units of instruction, so you have that's old language, then you have standards, and then there are courses that are allowable and things like that, and so. And then we've gone to an Algebra 2A and an Algebra 2B to help offset some of that, so they may not take the whole Algebra 2 content, but they get some of those essential standards from Algebra 2. So we have changed, we shifted to that a year or two ago to help offset some of that.
Yeah,
Because there is some content in Algebra 2 that we didn't deem necessary for every kid.
yeah.
But
Uh,
yeah, I see what you're saying.
I 100% get it, and it is unfortunately a gatekeeper, and it is unfortunately taking classes they would like, because they won't pass it first time around.
So they gotta take it again.
Take it again, and they're missing out on electives. I myself, I don't know if Corey would have brought this up to the state level, and we're still at that. If you want to go to college, Algebra 2 is a class you need to pass. I mean, if you're going to take let's say equivalent of an entry level math class in college, essentially.
Right.
So that's the thing, is getting kids college ready, is that they have the prerequisite in high school. We have done Algebra, 2A and B to try and help those students.
And that has helped, but yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying too.
Mhm.
So when it says 3 years of math,
Yeah,
it's already stated, these 3 years you will take, or these 3 courses you will take.
yeah, so you see behind it, 6 credits, got Algebra 1, Algebra 2, and geometry.
Yeah, so like those are high school requirements.
And not
Because
set by the state, you can't just pick the 3. I get it.
because Iowa says there are standards that are tied.
3 standards.
And so and there's no way we could do other, they would have to be delineated within those courses. That's pretty standard across the board.
Yeah, there may be districts that call it Math 1, Math 2,
Yeah.
Math 3, but they're gonna cover,
But it's,
by law, they're supposed to cover the same standards.
but the semantics at that point. They're teaching Algebra 1, Algebra, those types of
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
They may integrate math, they may teach it a little different format, but they're still teaching those standards within those structures.
It just seems like kind of a holdover from, like every kid needs to go to college.
100%.
Yeah. It is.
Mhm. There's a class that DMAC offers that worked with a lot of their programs. I want to say, is it consumer math?
Yeah.
That would be more practical.
Yeah, that's what was available.
Yeah, practical mathematics, is that okay?
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
what it's called, practical mathematics, and
Yeah.
I never took Algebra 2.
Yeah, when I was at Nevada and we were doing the welding program, that was one course that we offered online, and if they took it, it helped them get their associate's degree. When most of the kids in the welding program, that was the math class they took.
Yeah.
It was that kind of math. So, one thing I will point out here for the board is, because if you haven't gotten it, you will, is on the general requirements here where it talks about, students seeking a Winterset diploma. And this is homeschool students. It's come up every year I've been here, and I've met with them every time. In order to get a diploma from Winterset, they have to meet the requirements that are set by the board. And so a homeschool kid who doesn't take a class here, it lays out what they would need to do to get that credit. I don't know why I just lost.
Yeah, I don't know what just happened.
I don't know why I just lost connection. They would either pass the final exams for the classes they wanted or submit material that could be reviewed by the teacher. There's an avenue. Not many want to do that. Again, we hold graduation for kids who obtain a Winterset diploma. That's been the stance of the board. So again, this is if you get somebody that will come to you, which they will, here's what you would direct them back to. Here's what you need to do if you really want that diploma. They can try and take the semester exams and pass them, or submit materials that the teacher could review and say that they've met it. So again, I just anticipate that coming your way.
That'll creep up in May.
It will.
And they're great kids, and it's nothing against the kids. It's not personal. It's just, you set graduation requirements as a board. You say every kid that walks across the stage has met those requirements. So.
And do they have that information not in May?
Start
or do
questioning
they
what
not
they're,
Well, they reach out to me.
little Johnny, little Susie to walk across the stage, and so they've been doing, a lot of them are dual enrolled or,
They're great kids.
doing athletics or other activities, and
Just wanted to have that too, point that out to you. So.
any other questions? Not, I would entertain a motion to approve the board policy on graduation requirements.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Malcolm, second by Sam. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up, approve early retirement applications.
Yeah, so here's the list that have submitted their paperwork and meet the requirements and would like to be approved by the board for the early retirement incentive.
And all of those will be replaced, correct? As of-
Yes, the intent is to replace all of them. As indicated there, we are hearing there may be some internal interest, which may shift what actually we hire for, but we'll post them internally tomorrow and start through that process, so.
Any questions on early retirements? Not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the early retirement applications as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Sam, second by Malcolm. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up is action on settlement agreement that was subject of the closed session held earlier today. So Cammie, I just need to entertain a motion to approve the settlement that we discussed during closed session, correct?
That is correct for Miriam's guidance.
For the guidance, I would entertain a motion to accept the settlement that was discussed during closed session.
Second.
Motion by Gina, second by Malcolm. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Board member reports. Sam.
Nope.
Malcolm.
None.
Gina.
Nope.
Emily. No. Jared, no.
I did include Mackenzie's for you, so she did send it to me, so I'll pull it up. I don't know why it's not up there anymore, but
Meals from the Heartland.
yeah, Winter Social, the Mother's Son Dance, which is coming up, and then holiday seminars that they held right before Christmas, so that's her report. Just a couple things for you, for me. I included the Energage survey. I think I sent that to you that we did last year that qualified for the top 20 workplace, and I gave you access to those reports. That time you're to decide whether or not we want to do it again. Administration was, yeah, there was some value. And kind of said, well, would the board want to see it again? I don't know. I guess I'm seeking, it's about $6,000 to run that survey and qualify for that top 20 workplace. So,
Is that,
go ahead.
You go ahead.
I have a question. So is that to like put us on the map to like have?
So it gets
more
publicized as top 20 workplace. We put it out when we were awarded it. We shared the press release out when we received it. The data that came back, we looked at as an admin team. One of the areas last year was the associates maybe not feeling like they knew what was going on in the district as much. So we scheduled monthly professional development that Ken was leading with them throughout the year. The other thing that we were well aware of, if you look, is our benefit package. That comes up, and Malcolm was his first year on the board, sat on the insurance committee where we made the change to go to partially self-funded. Well aware that our healthcare benefit is not great. It took a while to get here. It's going to take a while to back out of it. We talked with our perspectives who we went with, who kind of got us into self-funding. And when Cammie gives you the financials, you'll see, if you look at health, it tells you what's sitting in that account that we haven't sent to the insurance company. We've been able to hang on to. Last year, we had a 12% increase. We brought that down to 6%. We just took money that we had held and sent that to it and only passed a 6% on premium increase to the general fund. Ideally, we'd like to start making the gap between what our employees pay and what the district pays. So if it's $2,400 out of pocket now, can we get that down to $2,250? Can we cover that and then start stair-stepping back? It's going to take some time. We made some changes 2 years ago now to try and get us on that path, but it's not going to be a quick fix. We don't know where we sit now. We're anticipating a double-digit market increase. I mean, they're just projecting insurance costs for anybody are going to be double-digit. We'll wait and see what that means for us. So that was something that came out of it that weren't new, that we're aware of. The one that led change was the associates trying to get them PD throughout the year to keep them connected to what we're doing.
Is this something you feel valuable doing again, right on the heels, or would you like to wait a year, see how some things?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. It gives you where you were on this metric, based on the last year, is it a plus or a minus? Pulls out the ones where you, showed really substantial increases, and it also shows you where maybe you took a step back. So those things we look at, as an admin team, and, you know, all the building principals took it and looked at it with their BLTs, so.
Well, and by hiring a firm too, you get the anonymity for your participants.
100%.
It's, you know, if we do it internally, they're never gonna think our information's confident, you know, they're gonna know who said what, who did what. So I mean, I do believe there is validation and going to an outside source on some of that, especially when working with employees.
Yeah, in your grand scheme, it means $6,000 in a $20 million budget is not much. So the feedback that helps our administrators and gives them clues that things will better serve staff, I think is worth it. So.
I'm not against it.
I like it.
I mean, I'm fine with it.
I'll probably proceed with it then.
Okay.
Just want to know if you were adamant against it or not. I have on here insurance committee. We haven't had one in a few years. I'm considering pulling them together to get their feedback and their perspective and maybe look at what 3 or 5 years look. Yeah, it was Malcolm and Kirk who sat and went through that with us when we made that decision a few years ago. There's one within the district. Met my first year, kind of met that year and then didn't meet because we weren't really making any changes to insurance. I don't know if there's value to pull it back together and see if we can lay up a plan. I don't know. It's really, we're handcuffed by the cost. I mean, to be 100%. So,
Is there, again, like, is there value in doing it in the sense that you're communicating the
That's
whole
fine.
story to everybody, to more people than just
That's my thought.
like union leadership, to say like, hey,
Yeah.
this is still a thing, like, we're still aware of it, we're still trying to make it better.
Yeah.
Here's what we're facing, just so you guys like understand, like, here's what we're staring down and here's what we're trying to do to make it better.
That was my thought. I don't know that there are gonna be a lot of changes other than this is where we're currently at. Here's what the changes we made have done for us so far. And then hear from perspective, like if they think it's at when is the point that we can maybe try and start backing some of the cost away from our employees.
Yeah.
So that was my thought, just more communication. I don't know if it'll be a bunch of changes. I don't think we can make our plan, you know, any less attractive.
I think there's value in just the communication piece of it, just, you know, to get individuals from each building together.
I will probably schedule one then once we get our renewal rate back and ask perspective to come and, you know, before we had, like I said, Malcolm and Kirk were on it.
Would anybody like to volunteer to serve on that?
I have school insurance. I think I better be out.
Anyone else want to join us for?
Malcolm?
I can do it.
Okay, Malcolm and Emily, okay.
Sam, you want to arm wrestler for it, or?
Yeah.
So no.
No.
She said anything.
That's how I
So, Malcolm and Emily before there's an arm wrestle battle.
Perfect. Once we get our renewal rate back, I'll tell perspective, we'd like to pull the community together and just walk through overview and talk about, you know, is there a way, knowing when to get here, can you tell us, you know, 2-3 years, what could we maybe do? I don't know. Hopefully we get ourselves in a situation where we can start doing some of that.
With that being said, having me in the buildings for subbing, do you see that as a conflict of any type? Okay.
Not in this.
Because I didn't know if maybe you just wanted 2 people outside of the district completely to be on that, or.
No, I think
No.
it's better. It would be better if you were there.
Yeah, because you're gonna.
Purpose of it is to communicate
Yeah,
the whole story,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I think it was eye-opening for when, I don't want to speak for Malcolm, when we had that and
Oh, no, go ahead.
we
That's fine.
went back.
Speak for me.
We went back and looked at kind of how we got there, and we decided to change insurance provider because, again, I'm not trying to be critical of prior administrations, so don't take it that way. As an outside person looking at it, there was an opportunity when you were getting 0% increase to go partial self-funded that would have set you up a lot better.
Investing.
Yeah.
But again, contacts and, I mean, there was perspectives are different. I get it. You know, I wasn't part of the team. We pivoted. It's been decent so far. But like the first year we added a bunch because, I mean, last year we ate a chunk of that to buy down our premium too. So Cami, anything you want to add to that?
No, I don't think so.
I sent you the Raccoon River Conference admission and the board update. Never a popular topic. However, conferences leaning that way, everything is going up. It just price of doing business is going up. If you've gone to a state activity, you know, it's online and you're getting that fee passed on to you. It says 8, but when you get your actual bill, it's an 8. There's a fee that you're paying. They'd like to pass that fee on to as well and go cashless. The Commerce has been trying to do that for a while.
Who's been trying to do that?
The conference has been trying for a while. Like there's some districts like Carla, I'm pretty sure takes 0 cash. We still have, I think, Carol probably, I think about half of them are still providing that option. Reason being, if you're going to pass the fee on, what am I going to start doing? It's going to reverse, right? We're going to start doing more cash. From an internal audit position, cash is going cashless or is a way better for internal controls, right? There's not the money counting, there's not the handling of cash. It's all, you know, deposit and go. You can't go to a Wolves game, a Wild game,
Anything.
an High Cubs game, and use cash anymore. You just can't. So the Raccoon River has an executive committee. We're going to meet, review the recommendations from the administration, and then it comes back for board approval as part of the fees. We are part of the Raccoon River Conference. We're going to pay it everywhere else we go, more than likely. But we haven't had that meeting yet either. Randy and I both sit on that, or did sit on that executive committee. I'm still on it. We met as a SUIT group last week, and I'll schedule that meeting. I'll set a meeting for the exec committee to review those. Interested in your thoughts before we go to that meeting.
I'm not opposed to a price increase. I mean, it probably should happen. I'm a little hesitant about a cashless system just for our demographic. You know, we have a lot of older people that come and support things that they don't have a smartphone. They don't have a way to go online and get a ticket. I think about wanting to include our younger kids and things. And if, you know, they can they all don't have activity tickets. I mean, I know that's part, but I mean, so those are just two kind of demographics. And, you know, and if I want to go last minute trying to get online and find something, if, you know, I decide to go to a football game at 7:00 and, you know, I've got to stand and get a ticket, and
I 100%
just, those are my concerns with going to a cashless system. It's that spontaneity and then just that ability for certain demographics of our population.
Understand.
A question about, would it affect the price of an activities pass? Would that increase as well?
No, so if you remember the recommendation, Randy would keep the student activity at $55 and encourage kids to go that route. And I mean, 7 events and you pay it off.
Yep, okay.
So not raising the activity, but trying to really encourage them to buy those up front and keep that cost at 55. Okay.
Can we offer annual activity passes for individual sports? That would make it so that, like, hey man, I go to a lot of football games, but I'm 78, I'm Jim Olsen, and I don't want to buy a ticket on my phone.
There used to be like a punch card that you could buy, like.
So that there's still an option for people to, and whether it's basketball and football and softball are going to be the biggest ones, I would imagine. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but football, basketball, softball.
It's like the old lunch ticket where, you know, you put so much on it and you get a punch and you go. And
yeah.
Buy them for the season.
Buy them for the season, but
you know, either at the admin, you know, somewhere just.
Yeah, sure. Randy will say absolutely. Since
he's not going to be here. But I like that idea for a way for our,
I don't know if he's on the Zoom nodding his head.
you know, our senior citizens to be able to go to things, because that is a big population of our attendees is
100%.
you know, I hear them gripe, you know,
even trying to go to state events, they're like, I can't figure out how to get this ticket. I need somebody to help me get.
I still use.
I do.
We do
Okay.
too. We do too. When we,
Yeah.
like, if we go to a football game, we always pay cash too. Cause it is nice to just be able to go there and slap some money down, but I understand the internal controls of like managing cash and having to
Yeah, I get it.
having to deal with paper money. Like that's about the only thing I use cash for. Like I don't have $1 on me right now,
Yeah.
But I always seem to have money to go to games. Wait, I always grab cash for those. Yep.
We'll stop at Casey's or
Grab cash for the game.
ATM to get cash to go to the game. But what about concessions then? So like, would concessions go cashless as well?
I have no idea. I doubt it. I would doubt they
I
would.
do like that the quarterback club takes credit card now.
Yeah, that's the thing is the card readers, and even if you get an online tickets, even if you had just if you went cashless, right? We had the card readers at admissions, so I'll need to check on the punch cards again. My guess is the executive committee is going to approve the recommendations. Would just be my guess when we're trying to put 9 schools together.
Could you still walk up to the gate and pay with a card at the gate?
I can check. Yeah.
Cause I'm trying to envision this punch card. Is that gonna be something big, like it'll be electronic and it clicks and then?
They'd have to buy it ahead of time to keep it.
It used to be you bought it
Yep.
and you had to have it, and if you lost it, you're out.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it
But
just,
it's not a paper
I think it was
form.
No,
only
it's a
for
paper.
football.
I think it was only quarterback club.
I think
Somehow
it was
did
only
it. But you got a
football.
punch, they punched a hole in it, and then you put it back in your wallet and went to watch the game.
So just it came up and part of my contract is to attend a national convention annually. So I attend the ASA conference, which is in February. Actually the week after we meet. So we meet on the 12th. One of the board bills that came through was my travel for that. It was actually my wife and I's ticket. I turned around and wrote the district a check for my half of the wife, which was in talking to Cami how to handle that. So if that came through and caused you pause, when I was hired, part of my initial plan with the board was that was part of my contract to attend one a year. So that's one I attend.
Anything else, Justin?
Nope.
Not next meeting